What up guys, I'm starting a new series called Ghetto Gourmet. I hope you guys like it. And it's pretty much based, and that's Taika in the background. And it's pretty much based on the idea that I cook a lot of really quick foods, right? Like instant noodles or fried rice or whatever. But I do like to add a culinary element to it in my style. So today we're gonna make an instant noodle with Wagyu beef. So that's why it's called Ghetto Gourmet, because this is the ghetto food that I grew up with, but gourmet with the Wagyu beef and also all kinds of other ingredients to really beef up what would have been a 10-cent meal. This probably ends up costing like 20 or 30 bucks, but it'll taste really, really good. So for today's Ghetto Gourmet meal, we're gonna amp up a instant noodle. I would usually recommend the traditional Shin ramen, which you can get at almost every single Asian market, and even at Vons they have it now, but they ran out, so I got this one, which is by the same company, Nongshim. This is actually really, really good too. I would recommend this one if you could find this one. The other one is just a little bit more popular. So my ingredients are, I have the instant noodles, got a little bit of kimchi, gotta have the egg with the runny yolk. Got the Wagyu beef. This whole tray I think is slightly under a pound and it's like 14 or 15 bucks. I'm not gonna use the whole tray. You'll probably just use a couple slices just for that really nice beefy flavor. So this will last a couple meals. Got some scallions, some cabbage just for some greens and some leafies in there. And then also a slice of cheese just for that extra layer of fat and savoriness. So I'm gonna prep the ingredients and I'll see you when I'm ready to cook. And this is actually really easy to do. To even make it easier and speed it up, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start boiling the water before I even start chopping anything. So I would usually cook this in a pot, but just so that you guys can see it easier while I'm cooking it in a pan. I know it looks weird, but it's gonna be able to, you're gonna be able to see everything way better. Okay. This should take about 2 to 3 minutes to boil. So while that's boiling, which takes about 2 to 3 minutes, I think it'll only take me 2 to 3 minutes to prep too. I usually like cutting off the ends because they're the tough parts. And then I just cut it into small, bite-sized that I can put into my instant noodles. And then the ends, sometimes there's like weird like bug bites or whatever. I throw that away too. I have this ready. Scallions, I only need a handful. It's just to make the flavor really pop. So I just really need just like this much, just a little handful. And that's it. I'm just kidding. I mean, pretty much all you really have to do is cut up the cabbage and then the scallions. The cheese, you open up on the spot, lay it at the top. The egg, you crack on the spot, on the top. And I'm gonna show you guys a little trick that I learned from David Chang's Instagram of how to keep an egg together. And I was like, man, I've been doing eggs wrong the whole time. And I'm so glad I learned this little secret. And I'll probably just choose a couple pieces of meat just to layer on and we're done. All right, so the water is just about boiling, which means it's time to take the instant noodles out of the packet. And I'm one of those Asian dudes that keeps every piece of ramen in it. So I care not only about the block that comes out, I also care about all the little scragglers, so I keep that in there. All right, so I like putting the seasoning in first, because in my mind, when I'm cooking, and the minute the ramen hits the water, it's being cooked, right? And I'm also imagining that it's also absorbing whatever is in its environment. So I like putting the seasoning in first so that the minute the ramen touches the water, it's already absorbing all of the good stuff into itself. So it's almost like it's marinating it. So this one comes with 3 bags. There's an oil, there's a powdered base, and then there's also some dehydrated veggies. And you can take your ramen and mix it up a little bit here, like that. And then just let it relax. And this is where I let all the crumbs come in. I don't want to waste any noodles if possible. So, because it's on a high boil now, put it on a medium, and I let the ramen relax a little bit. And now it's time to put in the other ingredients. The cheese I put on last. I like to put on the cabbage first. And usually it doesn't really matter if it's all mixed up together, but I'm just putting it on one side, kind of like purajiki, like Korean army soup, just so that for presentation it looks good. So you can see all the separate ingredients. So pretty much I just sit there and let it mingle so it can absorb all the flavors while it's cooking. And then I put the kimchi on the other side right here. Right there. Like this. Ooh, you can see the ramen is starting to break up and get loose, which is a good sign. So sometimes I just like to push it down a little bit so the hot water and the soup can get to the top so it gets evenly cooked. So I'll spread it out like this, just so all the soup gets everywhere. Pour some of it on the cabbage. Next, I like to layer on the cheese. Now that it's nice and soft, I know it's getting warm, put the cheese on top so it can slowly melt into it. And then I put the Gucci part of the meal right there. And since it is Wagyu beef and it is shabu shabu grade meat, it could technically be medium rare and you can still eat it. Have it there. So this is the little trick that I learned from David Chain's Instagram. Usually I would have popped the egg in and you get egg whites and yolks all over the place and sometimes it's all spread out. He said if you use a metal ladle like this and you keep it on the side, you pop it straight into the metal ladle, it will keep it in place while it's cooking, and then when you feel it's ready, then you can release it into the rest of your mixture. So that's what I'm gonna do. This is actually my first time doing it, so. All right, so pretty much now you're just waiting on the egg. Whenever the egg is done cooking, the whole thing is done cooking. And the beef, you don't really have to wait till it's fully cooked because the broth is hot, so you can kind of just wait like shabu shabu style and just kind of dip it to whatever liking you want. And I can tell the egg is getting there. Ooh, look at that egg. For the first time, I kept the egg together. Now pour in the middle. That's celebration. Ghetto Gourmet, baby, baby. So we got the noodles, we got the cabbage, we got the beef, we got the kimchi all mixed up in here. All right, let's just cook the piece of beef. The way I like to eat this, I like to grab a little bit of everything, to be honest. So I got my beef, I get my little bit of my noodles, I get a little bit of my lettuce, and then I get a little bit of my noodles, and then I get a little bit of my lettuce. I cheated. Babe, come here. All right, this is what I want you to do. Is
it good though?
It's good. Get one of the yolky parts. Well, I don't want to tell you. Get one of the yolky parts. Get a little bit of the shabu meat, and then get a little bit of the kimchi, and then get a little bit of cabbage.
Okay.
Just get a little bit of everything. Got that creamy part
Woo!
From the yolk. Oh, and there's the cheese too. That's all melted in there.
Okay. God, I'm losing everything. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get everything you want.
I really believe in you. I really do.
Oh, shit, how did you eat this?
It's really hot.
Okay. Damn, this is bomb.
Would you say it's Ghetto Gourmet?
Hell, this is really good.
Alright guys, that was a quick, easy meal. That took literally under 10 minutes, maybe even under 5, I don't know. But it was so fast, and I had noodles, I had veggies, I got meat in there. Let me know if you want to see more of this series, Ghetto Gourmet, and I will gourmet all the other ghetto ass foods I eat. See you guys next time. Peace.